Adverb clauses of manner. The following conjunctions are used to express the concept of manner: as if, and as though. For example, I invested the money as Michelle suggested. The officers left the crime scene as they found it. In these sentences, conjunction as means in the same way that. Max smiled as if he was enjoying a private joke. In this sentence, as if gives a possible explanation. He treats us as though we were his slaves. As though in this sentence shows something to be the case while it is not. Adverb clauses of reason and result. The following conjunctions are used in adverb clauses to introduce a reason: because, as, since, inasmuch as long as, and now that. For example, he didn't take a walk because it was raining. As I'm a linguist, I'm interested in all languages. Since you've finished all your chores, you can go out and play. We were lucky inasmuch as no one was hurt in the accident. Please notice that this conjunction is usually formal and used in formal language. As long as I'm here, we may as well begin. You can take a vacation now that you have completed the project. Now that, in adverb clauses of reason and result, means because now. Adverb clauses of purpose. The following conjunctions are used in adverb clauses to express purpose: so that, in order that, in the hope that, lest, and for fear that. For example, a writer's job is to tell a compelling story so that people feel it. She left home in order that she might gain more experience in the wild world. Joan searched her room carefully in the hope that she could find her missing ring. Conjunctions lest and for fear that express negative result and are similar in meaning to so that and a negative clause. For example, I was afraid to go out lest he should follow me. Or, I was afraid to go out lest he follow me. John was never late to work for fear that he should be fired. Or, John was never late to work for fear that he be fired. Notice that in adverb clauses starting with lest and for fear that, it is possible to have should or simply the base form of the verb. Adverb clauses of condition. The following conjunctions are used to express the concept of condition: if, even if, in the event that, as long as, or so long as, unless, in case, provided that, providing that, on the condition that, suppose that, supposing that, let's suppose that, whether or not, whether or. For example, he'll get very upset if I exclude him. Even if she survives, she'll never fully recover. Notice that in this sentence, even if expresses condition and contrast at the same time. In the event that an accident occurs, the added safety measures may save lives. Conjunction in the event that means if it should happen that. He'll be a good husband as long as you stay in control. Conjunction as long as means only if. Michelle will sell the house unless she hears otherwise. Unless as a conjunction in conditional sentences works like if plus a negative clause. So the sentence means Michelle will sell the house if she doesn't hear otherwise. Take your umbrella with you in case it rains. Conjunction in case means because it's possible that. Conjunctions suppose that, supposing that, and let's suppose that are used to weaken the condition. For example, suppose that you fail the exam, what will you do? Conjunctions provided that, providing that, on the condition that are used to strengthen the condition. For example, they will sign the contract provided that you are present. Conjunction whether is used to show that something will or will not happen, whatever the situation is. For example, I'll go fishing whether it rains or not. I'll go fishing whether you go with me or stay at home. Adverb clauses of contrast. The following conjunctions signify contrast and opposition in adverb clauses. They are classified into two subgroups: concessive conjunctions that offer a partial contrast, and adversative conjunctions that make a stronger contrast. Concessive conjunctions are as follows: although, though, even though, while, albeit or albeit that, even if, in spite of the fact that, despite the fact that, regardless of the fact that, and notwithstanding the fact that. Adversative conjunctions are while, were, whereas, and when. Notice that conjunction while belongs to both groups. Now, let's have some examples for concessive conjunctions. Although I admire his talent, I don't approve of his methods. Though he's almost 50, he still wishes to compete. Notice that conjunction though is less formal than although or even though. Hannah went ahead with the wedding even though she didn't love Peter. While there is no concrete evidence, everyone thinks he's guilty. Notice that adverb clauses with concessive while are usually used before the main clause. Albeit the army was heavily defeated, the officers remained cheerful in spirit. Notice that albeit or albeit that is a formal and archaic conjunction. Today it is most often used in reduced clauses. For example, Connor accepted the offer, albeit reluctantly. Conjunction even if combines condition and contrast. For example, even if I knew his whereabouts, I would never tell you. Conjunction if is used to say although something may be true, it's not important. For example, if she has a problem at all, it is that she expects to win all the time. It's also used in reduced clauses to add one criticism of somebody or something that you generally like. For example, she's a very pleasant person, if sometimes loud. Prepositional conjunctions in spite of the fact that, despite the fact that, regardless of the fact that, and notwithstanding the fact that, all mean although. For example, Nina loved her husband in spite of the fact that he drank too much. She went to work despite the fact that the doctor had told her to take a rest. Tom decided not to resign, regardless of the fact that he hated his job. Notwithstanding the fact that he had finished last, the runner was happy. Now let's have some examples for adversative conjunctions. Hospitals in urban areas tend to be better equipped, while those in rural areas are relatively poor. Where others might have been satisfied, Michelle had higher ambitions. The old textbook was fairly complicated, whereas the new one is really very simple. Why do they need another car when there are already 3 parked in their garage? Now, we need to pay attention to the punctuation. You remember that at the beginning of subordination, we learned that whenever you have the subordinate clause or the adverb clause at the beginning of the sentence, you need a comma between the 2 clauses. And when the adverb clause goes after the main clause, you don't need a comma. Now, for contrast adverb clauses, you may have a comma before the conjunction when you have the adverb clause after the main clause. So in terms of punctuation, there are 3 different possibilities. For example, although she knew it was dangerous, she went home by herself. Notice that in this sentence, we're starting the sentence with an adverb clause, and that's why you need a comma before the main clause in the middle of the sentence. This is true about all adverb clauses. Now, if we reverse the order of the adverb clause and the main clause and start the sentence with the main clause, there are 2 possibilities for punctuation. 1, she went home by herself although she knew it was dangerous. So like any other adverb clauses, it's possible not to have a comma and simply have the conjunction immediately after the main clause. Another possibility is to use a comma here. She went home by herself, although she knew it was dangerous. When a comma is used before the contrast conjunction in adverb clauses, it provides a mental pause for the reader to understand the contrast better.
Did you enjoy it? Then subscribe, like, comment and share. Thanks for joining us.